The market changed a lot recently, and 2 years ago it was base metals, and last year was precious metals. This year is energy. So the traditional markets, I think now the trend is shifting among different suites of products. For me, I do see a lot of maybe LNG with the internationalization of the Chinese LNG. There might be a big jump in the LNG market trading. And also looking forward, maybe more futuristic looking, maybe AI related products, if they can be launched successfully, it will be massive.
Welcome to Smarter Markets, a weekly podcast featuring the icons and entrepreneurs of technology, commodities and finance, ranting on the inadequacies of our systems and riffing on ideas for how to solve them. Together, we examine the questions: are we facing a crisis of information or a crisis of trust? And will building smarter markets be the antidote? This episode is brought to you in part by Abax Technologies. AI agents are fundamentally changing how people and organizations interact with computers and the internet. A race is underway to establish the path that will govern the nature of these interactions. Abax Technologies introduces Abax Labs as its center for engaging with the developer community through the release of open source software to promote a path that empowers users to maintain control of their identity, data, and agents in digital spaces. Abax Labs' first release is the Agents++ library, a subset of Abax's ID++ software development kit that has been tuned for use with AI agents. Download Agents++ on GitHub today at github.com/AbaxLabs. That's github.com/AbaxLabs.
Welcome back to Summer Playlist 2026 on Smarter Markets. I'm Dave Greeley, Chief Economist at Abax Technologies. Our guest today is Josh Qiao, CEO of Yongan International in Singapore. We'll be discussing how Yongan is providing access to China's futures and options markets for international traders, why it chose to become a clearing member of Abax Exchange, and the opportunities this creates in the commodities futures markets. Hello, Josh. Welcome to Smarter Markets.
Hi, David.
I'm really glad we're able to sit down here in Singapore, that we're able to make this work. And it's just a great opportunity to meet you in person, introduce you to our audience. Your company, Yongan Singapore, provides access to China's futures and options markets, as well as futures and options markets globally from here in Singapore. And I was just curious, what exchanges and markets do you currently provide access to?
Basically, all the major market we can help our clients to access to. So we are the clearing member of 2 Singapore local exchanges, SJX and Abax. And for the major markets in the US, in Europe, we can provide access to. And for us, one of the strengths is the access to the Chinese market as well. So that's globally.
Right now, it's pretty exciting how you're able to provide access for international traders to those exchanges in China. What exchanges are you providing access to within China?
We provide access to all 5 commodity exchanges that has internationalized products. Those 5 are Dalian Commodity Exchange, DCE, Zhengzhou Commodity Exchange, ZCE, Shanghai International Energy Exchange, INE, and Shanghai Futures Exchange, SHFE, also the newest one, Guangzhou Futures Exchange, GFAX. So all 5.
And what markets in China are you seeing the most interest from international traders to participate in?
I think we get a lot of inquiries on the Chinese market. It's across the whole suite of products. For us, most volume goes to the agricultural products because they have the whole suites that are open up. For example, the soybean complex and also the rapeseeds. So for that, the Chinese market can provide a whole package for the industry players. We do also see interest in precious metals, energy-related products, petrochemicals as well. So I think international traders are eager to see more and more products open up very quickly. I'd say overall, the opening up of the Chinese market is a success. I do see increasing number of volume and participants. trading into China.
From what types of international clients are you seeing the most interest in gaining access to China's markets through?
We're seeing various type of clients that are trading into China. First one I like to mention is those corporates, the physical players. They want to trade into China for arbitrage or hedging purposes. And the second would be financial institutions. For example, the traditional banks, trading houses, they are actively accessing China as well. And also, one thing I'd like to mention, I do see pension funds also, they are trading into China. I'd say maybe for them, now the Chinese market can be an important asset allocation for the players.
Giving that increased diversification?
Yes, it definitely does. And also recently, the Chinese pension funds are also opening up their accounts. That's the trend, to trade into the commodities and to allocate the assets.
Why did you choose Singapore for providing access?
In the corporate level, it's a strategic decision. Definitely, Singapore is an important hub for financial trading, especially commodities. Singapore has everything here, the exchanges here, the vendors here, our peers, and our clients. Everyone is here. So it gives us, I think, a gateway to global reach, as well as it's in the same time zone as China. So it does give us the convenience of servicing our clients and supporting different trades. Speaking of Singapore, yeah, I'd say for a Chinese company to internationalize, to do global business, maybe their first stop is Hong Kong, but definitely Singapore will be their one of the first choices to set up office. And for global business, look at those US or European companies, Singapore is an important stop for them to do Asia business as well.
Now we're at this moment where China is opening up many of its markets to international traders, and China's commodities markets are huge. Its futures markets are huge. What is China looking for from the international trading community by opening its markets?
China is the biggest buyer of many raw materials and the biggest exporter of many processed or materials as well. So I think it's strategically, it's a very wise idea to internationalize the commodity market and to get international players to hedge, to trade Chinese products.
And what do you think the international trading community is looking for by getting access to these Chinese exchanges and markets?
Well, primarily, everyone do want to make money. They're looking for opportunities. The Chinese market does give them many opportunities because the markets are quite liquid, got many participants. I do see the big corporates, the trading houses, and the physical players, they are using the Chinese market to hedge their physicals as well. So I'd say, yeah, functions of a futures market is price discovery and hedging.
And before you came to Yongan, you had worked at the Dalian Commodity Exchange for many years. And I was curious, how do you think of how the Chinese markets and their participants use their markets relative to what we might be used to in the international community? How are the participants different, and how is the way they use the markets different?
Yeah, that's an interesting question. There are, in many ways, Chinese market is a bit different from the rest of the world. In China, you can hold both long and short position at the same time. So in the order type, there's buy to open and sell to open, and there's a difference between open and close.
And when you work with international traders who you're helping give access to the Chinese markets, are there certain places where you need to educate them so that they understand how to participate in those markets in a better way?
Yeah, there are several things. Let's say, for example, the rules of the exchange. I think all the products are their margin percentage wise. So yeah, if the price goes up, more margin is needed for that. And also there are trading limits and position limits when the contract reach to the expiration. We need to constantly remind our clients it's time to reduce position. And now recently, the regulators rolled out more strict rules on program trading. So for that, we need to learn as well. And at the same time, we need to educate our clients. But so far, I think even though there are a bit differences in the way the trades are done, but international clients are adapting and they're doing quite well.
Yongan recently became the first China's mainland-backed clearing member of Abex Exchange here in Singapore. Why did you choose Abex Exchange to become a clearing member of?
In short, we do see opportunities working together with Abex. So in particular, Abex has some of the products that are quite closely related to what our clients are trading or they are interested in. For example, the most liquid products in Abex, gold. In Asia, we're used to price gold in kilograms and grams, and Abex has the kilobar contract. So that gives for our clients more straightforward calculation without any conversion, how the price is doing and compare in different markets. That provides the hedging on cross market arbitrage opportunities. And also lithium carbonate. That's something that's really hot in China recently, and there are many interests. If you look at the GFAX volume, they are growing up substantially in recent months. And for our clients, maybe they will be interested in arbitraging on or trading different markets as well. Also, LNG, that's also a big part. And that's how we see the arbitrage opportunities. And I do see that for international traders, they want to trade the products in China. So for Abex products, that's closely related to the Chinese market and also is USD denominated. We do see opportunities.
You mentioned some of them, but what are some of the futures products that you're most excited about right now to allow people to trade?
The market changed a lot recently, and 2 years ago, it was base metals, and last year was precious metals. This year is energy. So the traditional markets, I think now the trend is shifting among different type, different suites of products. For me, I do see a lot of maybe LNG with the internationalization of the Chinese LNG. There might be a big jump in the LNG market trading. And also looking forward, maybe more futuristic looking, maybe AI related products, if they can be launched successfully, it will be massive. For example, token contracts.
Ian, I believe recently lithium carbonate just opened up for international trading. Is that right?
Oh, glad you mentioned that. So for Yongan, we are one of the first overseas intermediaries of GFAX. We became one of the first OIs from Singapore to provide access. That's also a future, and in a future contract as well, because the batteries are used everywhere now for energy storage, EVs, and also with the AI, it's a very energy consuming industry. That will be exciting.
And you had mentioned earlier about the arb trading between contracts outside of China and within China. How important is that spread trading for commodities traders going to be?
I think people do see opportunities first because they can make profit from trading. And those arbitragers, they also make all the markets there to run more efficiently, I'd say. Whenever there's a mispricing, yeah, the arbitragers do get in and make sure the markets are moving and are not distorted or anything. Yeah, so I think it's a good thing for the traders because it gives them opportunities, and also it's a good thing for the market.
And what are some of your goals in the near term for working with Abex?
Definitely, we'll be trying to onboard more clients to trade, to see now the gold and silver, even the LNG contracts in Abex, the volumes are going up. I think eventually the clearing member and the exchange, and also to the traders, we are working in the ecosystem. So maybe you can grow the business together.
And you talked a little bit about locating in Singapore, and both your company and Abex are located in Singapore, in part to kind of try to be a bridge for that north-south flow of commodities and commodities trading that's happening. Could you describe a little bit about that north-south flow in the commodities markets?
Yeah. So for us, we are more doing the northbound business. From what I see is there are more and more interest in trading to China. Also, the Chinese exchanges are opening up more and more products. Yeah, and those products in China, every launch is a success because their volume, their volatility there. And southbound, I'd say there are more for those big corporates to hedge their risk. And recently, we do see some asset managers. They launch their funds overseas to raise money, and they use their trading strategy and those asset managers. So they are trading into China and also the global market. It's growing in both parts of the market.
How does the financial aspect help with the underlying physical commercial market in these commodities?
Definitely hedging is a big part because recent years, the commodity price are really fluctuating a lot. Yeah, there are many events. People does need to hedge. Also, I think being in Singapore, the companies and the whole industry is quite concentrated in here. You can get a lot of business partners. It's also a business opportunity for them. Maybe one physical trader through us, we can introduce them to other physical players. Or now the trading houses are more and more curious on what are the hedge funds views on the market. Yes, so for us as an FCM, we can be a center for a community of clients and also a center for information. So I think that that's very helpful to our clients.
Really is building out that whole ecosystem. I wanted to ask you, you mentioned a few of the products, but what commodity futures markets and products are you most interested in developing over the coming years? Where do you see some of the big opportunities?
Okay, because the whole community market has been there for more than 100 years. The traditional markets, there are needs and the overall market size is growing. However, I think for the next big thing, I'd say maybe two parts. One is the ESG, green energy, and the other thing, and it's the hottest topic now, is AI related. So maybe tokens. That's something that would make a huge difference of the market. But the traditional markets, they're already there.
And what are some of the green energy markets? Do you see things for battery materials, lithium carbonate? How do you see some of those markets developing?
Yeah, glad you mentioned lithiums. I do see a lot of interest on the lithiums as well. It's a big part in the EVs and also in the whole energy storage and the whole industry. That's a big thing. Quantum exchange there, a lithium contract, the volume recently has boomed a lot. And people are also looking into opportunities for arbitraging across different markets. Yeah, we have some clients doing between GFX and CME contract. Well, maybe in the future, we hope to build a more volume on ABAX as well.
I wonder, you mentioned AI. There's always, even though commodity markets have been around a very long time, there's always a need for constant innovation. Where do you see some of the most interesting areas and potentials for innovation in some of the markets you serve?
Adopting AI or
Whether it's technology like AI or whether it's new markets, curious where you would like to see some innovation in the areas you work in.
maybe in the future, we can use AI as a tool or something to better service our client. Or maybe with the launch of AI related products, the whole market will get more familiar with how AI, the system of the whole AI works.
And I'm just curious, thinking about some of your clients, are many of your markets predominantly trading on the screen electronically, or do voice brokers still play a large role? How is that mix in the markets you're working in?
For us, most of the clients are using screen. I do see that I think it's a trend for the market to move to screen. Also, many exchanges that are trying to move their volume to screen as well. I'd say that's the trend to going screen, but still, In some markets, people like to discuss about market to get a sense, and they still want to talk to people to trade. I don't see the voice trade will be gone. At least in the next few decades, they will be there. Definitely the volume on screen will be increasing a lot.
For you as CEO of Yongan here in Singapore, what are your goals or aspirations for the company over the next few years?
Of course, our primary goal is to further grow our client base and to have a bigger presence, not only in Singapore, maybe in the whole ASEAN area. And also, as I mentioned, we want to be an important part of the whole ecosystem. So by connecting our different types of clients and the exchanges and also the market intelligence companies, we can be a hub for information, for physical trading opportunities as well. So in addition to that, so for Yongan, servicing the physical players are in our gene. We also have a big physical trading team to help those traders to get market intelligence and to better help them with their decision in both in paper trading and physical trading.
Well, thanks so much for spending time with us. I wanted to ask you before we wrap up, now that we're at this moment where China's opening up its markets to international traders and going abroad through firms like yours, how do you see this opening up of China's markets changing the international commodities markets?
Statistics or those things that I actually see is that, in particular, with the opening up of Dalian's iron ore futures, the volume of SGX also grows. That is because I was with DCE, we did research on that. I believe for other products, it will be the same story. So I do see with opening of the Chinese market, the whole global community of the derivative markets will be growing together.
Well, thanks so much for taking time to sit down with us. Really appreciate it.
Thank you, David.
Josh.
It's my pleasure, and welcome to Singapore.
Thanks again to Josh Qiao, CEO, Yongan International in Singapore. We hope you enjoyed the episode. We'll be back next week with another episode of Summer Playlist 2026. We hope you'll join us.
This episode is brought to you in part by Abax Technologies. AI agents are fundamentally changing how people and organizations interact with computers and the internet. A race is underway to establish the path that will govern the nature of these interactions. Abax Technologies introduces Abax Labs as its center for engaging with the developer community through the release of open-source software to promote a path that empowers users to maintain control of their identity, data, and agents in digital spaces. Abax Labs' first release is the Agents++ library, a subset of Abax's ID++ software development kit that has been tuned for use with AI agents. Download Agents++ on GitHub today at github.com/AbaxLabs. That's github.com/AbaxLabs. That concludes this week's episode of Smarter Markets by Abax. For episode transcripts and additional episode information, including research, editorial, and video content, please visit smartermarkets.media. Please help more people discover the podcast by leaving a review on Apple Podcast, Spotify, YouTube, or your favorite podcast platform. Smarter Markets is presented for informational and entertainment purposes only. The information presented on Smarter Markets should not be construed as investment advice. Always consult a licensed investment professional before making investment decisions. The views and opinions expressed on Smarter Markets are those of the participants and do not necessarily reflect those of the show's hosts or producer. Smarter Markets, its hosts, guests, employees, and producer, Abax Technologies, shall not be held liable for losses resulting from investment decisions based on informational viewpoints presented on Smarter Markets. Thank you for listening, and please join us again next week.